Catherine Zeta-Jones has a special guest starring role in the second season of Prodigal Son, playing Dr. Vivian Capshaw. I'm Kevin Jacobsen of Gold Derby here with Catherine. And to start things off, I know you said you were a big fan of Prodigal Son before you joined on. I'm curious, what was it that appealed to you most about just the first season that made you want to be a part of it?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Of course.
My agent called me and said, "Do you know the show Prodigal Son?" I went, "I do actually." And I'm telling you right now, I'm the person who kind of binges like everything all together because I always seem to be doing something. But I had seen Prodigal Son, and reason being, I know for sure was that Michael Sheen, who's from my hometown, who I'd never met, I'd never worked with, in my big bucket list that I carry around with me, he was one of the ones I'd pinpointed, whether it be a play or TV or film, that I should first of all meet him, and also I'd love to work with him. And so those the couple together, I spoke to the producers, and they pitched me a character that I went, ooh, I could have a lot of fun with that. I play Dr. Vivian Capshaw, a doctor who is assigned to the bowels of the Claremont Psychiatric Hospital. Probably not a big career move for her. And so with that alone, after reading just one script where I was not in the script in a lot, I questioned, why is this woman here? And so the producers pitched me an arc that I thought was a lot of fun, and a character that for me, in 7 episodes, I was able to do a big exercise as an actor, in that I didn't have a season to flesh out the nuances of this woman, to introduce myself to the audience or intertwine with other storylines. I didn't have half the second season, but I have a snippet in time where predominantly all my scenes are with Martin Whitley, played by Michael Sheen, where this character is able to come out. You know, from the surface, she is a very control doctor, takes no BS in a dangerous environment, working one-to-one with a serial killer, the surgeon. But what's interesting is that she's a doctor, and so is the Michael Sheen character. So she would have known who he was on the outside. She would have known what went down with him that brought him inside. Now she's inside with this, maybe somebody that she aspired to, someone who taught her, someone who shunned her. Something went on. There's a story that I created, a backstory, so that when my character comes in, I'm able to unfold her at quite a steady pace. And it's proven to be one great, like I said, a great exercise, but a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, from looking back on your career, you've done a decent amount of TV, but I don't know if you've really, guested on a drama series and done this recurring guest spot kind of a situation. Like I know you did Feud, for example, but that was its own mini series, where Prodigal Son is like a show that's existing and it's running from year to year. Were there any nerves about, entering this world as kind of like the new kid in school, if you will?
I always find when I go on any film set, I feel like the new kid at
Mhm.
school. I just do. Now, let's not forget we're shooting in COVID time, which was something that I was a little bit dubious about at first. But I must say, kudos to the production. I felt safe, not just me because I'm the actor, but the whole crew. Their protocol has been really on it, and so we've all been able to work and create in a safe environment. But the hard thing is, first kid, first day of school, all I see are people's eyes. I don't see any face. I don't know whether they're
Oh, yeah.
smiling or scorning at me. I don't know whether they're poking their tongue out at me. And so for somebody who loves the camaraderie of being on a set, I love to talk to the crew. I like to watch what the crew does. I love that the quintessential actors equivalent to the water cooler, where we wait for a setup to be done and we chit chat, rehearse our lines, run our lines, catch up, all that stuff that we don't do in this new kind of way of working. in the COVID time. So I was welcomed in with open arms. I mean, genuinely really happy to have me there. And I felt really honored to be there. And working with a well-oiled craft, you know, when people do these shows where they have, you know, we got a script, we got a week and a half to shoot it, we got a script, we got a week and a half to do it, and you get into a pace, and they were already in their pace. So I jumped right in, so that I wasn't like holding up the, you know, the mechanisms, and it was a lot of fun. Working with Michael Sheen so much, it really became like a two-hander storyline for us for a while. It was interesting because as soon as they said cut, we both reverted back to our childhood accents and voices and in jokes and silly, you know, kind of regional things that we say in Wales that nobody else will understand, that we think are funny. So it was nice to have that. And I think even hearing his accent when we weren't working, it was very comforting to me. It was like I knew him. He was like family in a way, even though I never had any relationship with him before. But I feel, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think I was right. I think we have a chemistry on camera that is something that really, as great as the writing is, it's not in the script, and it's not something you can rehearse. And every time I've seen Michael in his work, I'm always like, I just feel, I just know that would be good to work with, and it's proved itself to really, you know, a lot of fun, and very, very comforting and very relaxed. It was great.
Mm. Yeah, it does. It looks like the two of you are having a ball together working on screen. Can you describe what you think it is, though, that gives you that connection with him beyond obviously the personal connection, but just when he is acting in that character and you are in your character, what is that beneath that?
Well, it's something that is the kind of, you know, the whatever it is, you know, it's kind of, it's not really tangible, I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially working right now in COVID, where we haven't had a week of rehearsals. We're not sitting around the water cooler. We haven't got that. It was literally masks off, do it, you know, and mask off, embrace, kiss, you know, it was, and so there's certain times in I just, you act, you create. My character had to be on a par with him. You know, my character is much more vulnerable and fragile than one will, you know, that she puts on. But the fun of being a doctor, I mean, him being a doctor, her having a power, in control. She is in control, and so that we started on that plane, and now our character, our arc, you know, has gone off in a different direction. But it was having that kind of fearlessness, you know, and for something like this, for me, like you said, to come in, to throw myself in, to be the new kid the new kid at school, you have to go in with a kind of fearlessness, you know, and especially with a character like this. I've tried new things. I've not been so safe with her, and it's what I enjoy doing in this point in my career is first of all working with great people, and that's the kind of like the staple, and having a character that I haven't played before, which kind of, I personally always gravitate to the darker side of human nature anyway, so I could instill that in her a bit and have a little bit of a, you know, you don't quite know where she's going or where she's come from. She's like this person thrown into this environment, and it's been a good journey for me to find those nuances in a small amount of time. And what I like about doing TV like this, I shouldn't forget it, is that it's so immediate. I haven't finished shooting Vivian. I'm still in Vivian talking to you.
Wow.
Usually it's like, I've already a year ago, but
Year and a half, right?
I can't even remember what my character was called. I can make
Yeah.
some pretty funny anecdotes to you to pass the time, but it's I love that. I love that immediacy. It's you don't have to wait it out. You get a script, you tweak what you think needs to be tweaked. The writers are great on this. They're not precious at all. And so you can get on the phone and go, what about this? Or what do you mean about that when you say that? And then you do it. It's like, it's a bit like, taking it on the road. It's really immediate. I like that.
Well, I mean, I have to ask you about this one specific scene where Dr. Capshaw, she doesn't have the proper access to tools that she needs to perform a surgery. So she has Martin get a drill, and we see you actually drilling into a patient's head, which is truly a wild image. Can you take us back to that day of filming, what that was like to shoot as like one of your first scenes?
It was like literally my second day. Second day. So I got a text from the director saying, yeah, do you want to come in a little bit early before hair and makeup today? I just want you to see how you're going to drill through the skull. I went, sure, and then so I just went, okay. And they gave me a drill. I swear to God, it was like Home Improvement. It was like this size. And my little finger was like, the end of the drill was out here. I said, do you have more of a female drill? I know that he gets the drill. Could it be more of a little bit more compact? And so they got me a girl drill. I called it, can you get me my girl drill? And so they got me that. And so I did it. And then I never thought about, on the day there will be a little bit of blood coming out and a little bit of the pressure of going through the skin. And then you'll hit something that will feel like the skull. And all of a sudden I'm there with the drill and I'm like, I feel a bit wheezy. I said to the director, how many skulls do we have, just in case I screw up? He went, I think we got 2. We can patch up a 3rd, but we got 2 good ones. So I went, steady hand. Nailed it. But, I sent my husband a little photo. He was shooting. I sent him, just another day at the office, honey. Love you. And there I was with the drill doing a lobotomy, but not a lobotomy, drilling through the skull. It was fun. And I've got a few more like medical stuff to do. The hardest thing for me on doing the show was learning getting the pronunciation of the meds and the procedures right, as if I know what I'm talking about. And I always remember talking to George Clooney, who I've worked with a few times, and I used to talk about ER, and he used to say, oh my God, if I never have to learn another, procedure name or a prescription medical term and say it really fast and say it like you say this all the time. That was the hardest thing for me on Prodigal Son, and not passing out when I saw blood. But that I got through that.
I love it. Well, because Gold Derby is an awards website, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up your Oscar win for Chicago back in 2003. I remember that presentation very well, actually, because it was Sean Connery, the late Sean Connery. And when he was announcing the winner, he just said, Catherine. That was it. He didn't say Catherine Zeta-Jones for Chicago. It was just Catherine. And you were also pregnant at the time.
Was I ever pregnant?
Yeah.
I had my bosoms were 2 like watermelons. I thought I was gonna, oh my gosh. It was, look, just because I've been very lucky to had kudos and some awards in my career, I'm never ever blasé about it. I get the thrill and the kind of butterflies in my belly if I'm going to the Oscars or I'm watching the Oscars or the Emmys or the Tonys or the Grammys I like that. I like that. I got brought up, waiting in Britain, waiting for the newspaper clippings, of what happened in Hollywood that night, the next day. I still think it doesn't get old for me. I enjoy applauding my comrades and my peers in jobs well done, acknowledging the work at hand, and it's part of our industry. So I remember that. I kind of remember that night. I had pregnant woman brain. I do remember, but I got to sing live at the Oscars, which was like, what was I thinking? Like, I had a baby 10 days later. There I was, like with Queen Latifah belting out some song. But it was. Every time I've ever been fortunate enough to be nominated or to receive something, it's always really memorable, because as a little girl, I dreamed about that. It'd be remiss of me to be, to be an actor and then, go, oh, I don't care if no one awards me anything, but when it does happen, it's very special. And to have Sir Sean, my dear friend, who I miss so much, do that for me. And everyone was like, did you know that it was going to be you? I said, no, I didn't know. It just happened to be Sir Sean Connery, presenting it. And when he made it so personal, it was, it was lovely. But you know what? I love and adore Kathy Bates. And Kathy Bates says, I was pissed. I didn't know whether he was calling me by my full name. And I said, oh, sorry, Kathy. Because she was nominated at the same time. But it's, I always like to, even if I'm not presenting or, at an award ceremony, it's always a bit of an event at home in my calendar. It's like we have supper early because the show's on, and so, and then we all kind of do our own personal family prediction. Michael's always right.
Oh.
My husband is always right.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think he's got some Douglas Hollywood insider. I don't know, but he's always right. He's good at predicting. You should get him on the show. Anyway, so to be able to be at this point in my career to do fun roles like Vivian Capshaw, with surrounded by really cool dudes, easy, good, hardworking actors in a show that's a lot of fun. It's been a great few months, I have to say.
Yeah, I love it. Well, for those of you watching, hit like and subscribe for more interviews, and head to goldderby.com to make your Oscar predictions, Emmy predictions, you name it. Catherine, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody.